Article 4. The Good, the Bad, the Petty. How routine safeguards were recast as misconduct. Category: Report Analysis, Public Accountability, ADA and Public Health. Originally published July 8, 2025. Source: YourNews, reproduced here with original context preserved. This article examines a series of routine purchases and safety measures that were cited in the 2024 Inspector General Report as evidence of misconduct, despite their clear public-facing purpose. Items highlighted as questionable included sanitation equipment, outlet testers, ADA door openers, and basic logistical tools used to support voters and election officers during high-volume elections. Many of these items directly addressed accessibility, public health, and building safety in an aging, heavily trafficked facility. When the Office of Elections attempted to clarify the purpose of these purchases, supporting documentation was withheld through FOIA denials, even where explanatory records were acknowledged to exist. The November 2024 Inspector General Report targeting Richmond's Office of Elections appears to have been written not with fairness or accuracy in mind, but with a predetermined agenda, and nowhere is that more obvious than in its pettiness. Let's examine how routine improvements and health-focused purchases were twisted into allegations of misconduct, revealing a glaring disregard for both context and common sense. Rescue workers' helmet: the good, health and safety. During the time frame in question, the Office of Elections served thousands of visitors and election officers, many elderly, immunocompromised, or with mobility limitations. COVID-19, influenza, and rhinovirus surges were par for the course, and our department regularly handled over 1,000 people per day during peak election activity. Some of the purchases cited in the report as questionable were basic, responsible investments in public safety and accessibility, specialized sanitation devices and disinfectants, outlet testers to ensure polling locations had functional electrical access, ADA door openers to expand access for those using mobility devices, an angled cart to safely move tables and equipment between polling sites. Even the door openers were never installed due to the chilling effect of the investigation. To this day, it's likely that visitors and election officers using wheelchairs still face accessibility barriers on the building's first floor. Skull and crossbones: the bad, FOIA denials and the suppression of truth. When the Office of Elections attempted to clarify the purpose of these purchases, many of which directly served voter access and safety, FOIA requests were summarily denied. One such denial even referenced a spreadsheet outlining the purpose of each item, yet the city still refused to release the documentation under the usual excuses, despite the report already being public. The petty. A report built on misrepresentation. Let's be honest. What kind of public watchdog highlights outlet testers, sanitizer, and a rolling cart in a scathing, abuse of resources report? The Office of Elections was under immense pressure to modernize, expand access, and protect public health, all while being scrutinized at every turn. Instead of collaboration, certain individuals appeared intent on weaponizing even the most minor purchases, twisting them into a manufactured narrative. The report never once acknowledged the context of these expenses. It ignored the fact that ADA compliance efforts were underway and that the building's aging infrastructure required routine safety and accessibility reviews. Voters should ask why. This wasn't oversight, it was an attack stripped of human context. Hold your officials accountable. Stay tuned for Part 5. In December 2025, I covered an electoral board meeting at the Office of Elections facility and noted that all the security measures that I instituted were still in place almost a year later. I also noted that viral control measures had ceased and that the ADA door openers that had been labeled as waste were still not installed. Controlling the narrative. A Richmond Elections Board meeting marked by restraint, stagecraft, and quiet shifts in power by Brian, December 11, 2025, YourNews. My FOIA request. From Prince Brian L. Elections. Sent. Friday, December 13, 2024, 12:29 p.m. 2. Johnson, Craig SOIG. Subject. FW. FOIA request 12.13.24-18. 12.13.24. Good morning. The following request falls under the Intergovernmental Waiver of Costs as this FOIA request is not being made by or in the capacity of a private citizen. This is for independent fact-checking purposes of alleged staff activity. In Claim 18 of the report against OOE, it is stated as if it were fact that the following items fell under the category of unnecessary purchases and that they were building maintenance issues for the landlord. Please provide evidence that the lease agreement was reviewed as to what the landlord will actually be responsible for. Please provide the evidence that these items were purchased exclusively for building maintenance. Show the investigation process that concluded this information. Facts. Drywall cart was one of a number of carts purchased to move election material and equipment, mainly tables due to the upright slant and lip. Facts. Backpack fogger, not a garden sprayer, for use with Clorox Turbo utilized to fog building after C-19. Closures. Thousands of taxpayer dollars were spent for this process to be done by a company under the last registrar, Scholter. This item and the Turbo Clorox replaced this expenditure of funds. Clorox Turbo is utilized to disinfect after all training classes and heavy public exposure, as OOE can see 1,000 plus individuals per day during election periods. Facts. The $35 in electrical testing equipment was to meet the ongoing requirement of inspecting all polling locations and reporting bad outlets to that building's management. Previously purchased testers were unable to be located after the termination of 2 employees. OOE is required to upkeep the building, including ADA and voter accessibility issues, as this is a polling location and according to the lease agreement. ADA door openers are part of an ongoing accessibility project that was halted. Sincerely, Brian Prince, HSO, OOE Technology and Security Department. FOIA response. From Johnson, Craig SOIG. 2. Prince, Brian L. Elections. CC. Osuna, James, OIG. Dickinson, John K. City Attorney. Marks, Wirt P. City Attorney. BCC. Date. Thursday the 19th of December 2024, 17 hours 59 minutes and 41 seconds. Subject. Re. FOIA Request 12.13.24-18. Mr. Prince, I am writing to formally respond to the FOIA request that you sent to this office on December 13, 2024. You requested documents regarding the following. Request falls under the Intergovernmental Waiver of Costs, as this FOIA request is not being made by or in the capacity of a private citizen. This is for independent fact-checking purposes of alleged staff activity. Repeated content skipped. All responsive documents to this request are exempt from disclosure under the following provision of the FOIA statute as follows. They also are exempt under 2.2 to 3705.1, 3, as work product compiled specifically for use in an active administrative investigation concerning a matter that is properly the subject of a closed meeting under Section 2.2-3711. For this purpose, the applicable section of 2.2-3711 is subsection 1, which also relates to personnel matters and investigations thereof. Finally, the information is also exempt from disclosure pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2 to 3705.3, 7, which exempts investigative notes and correspondence and information furnished in confidence that were provided to or produced by or for the IG. This closes your FOIA request. Craig Johnson, CFE, SIG, SIGI, Deputy Inspector General, Office of the Inspector General, 900 East Broad Street, Suite 1500. Richmond, Virginia, 23219.